Hello and welcome to Lorindalandia. Today I would like to talk about having an abundant mindset and how to heal from a lack mentality. First, when I talk about an abundant mindset, I'm not necessarily talking about having extreme amounts of wealth, having a mansion, like having expensive cars, expensive clothes. It can be, but that's not specifically what I'm talking about. When I speak about an abundant mindset, I speak about living a life of passion where you follow your dreams and you live a life of fulfillment and authenticity. And fulfillment and authenticity can look different to many people. Some people, yes, he's having an expensive house, an expensive car, expensive clothing. For other people, maybe it's just more time to rest, more time to enjoy. Maybe it is traveling. Abundance depends on the person's need and inner sense of fulfillment and authenticity. When I talk about having an abundant mindset, is living a life that is truly fulfilling to us, where the activities that we do during the day are authentic and fulfilling to us, where we dedicate our time and energy to things that we are passionate about, to things that bring us joy, and we create a life around things that bring us passion and joy, and a life that is authentic and aligned with our values. The luck mentality is basically having this mentality that imagine you have a dream of being a painter, but in your mind, you are like, I cannot be a painter because if I am a painter, I'll not be able, for example, to have money, especially at the beginning. Like, am I going to sustain myself? How am I going to make my dreams come true? Am I good enough of a painter even to be able to live successfully through that business? How can I pursue my dreams and still have enough resources to do it, right? And this really comes to mindsets because anything and everything is possible. We just kind of need to set our minds into it. If we believe something is possible, it will be. However, what is in our mind that stop us from living in an abundant mindset? And again, what I mean by abundance mindset is a mindset of where you live the life of your dreams, you follow your passions, you dedicate your time and energy to things that are authentic to you and that you have passion about. What is stopping us from living in that mindset is this sense of not being good enough, is relating to the sense of worth, and is also feeling unsupported by the outside world. That's usually a reflection of being unsupported within us. This all comes back to childhood beliefs that were instilled into us. I think a lot of us have that childhood beliefs that following something unconventional or following something that you are passionate about, that is hard to make money, that won't be able to survive through it, that you won't be able to have a decent life while following your dreams. This belief was instilled in us in childhood, and it comes back to a sense of feeling unsupported. If, for example, we were a kid and we wanted to pursue a dream, and our dream was beaten down by saying, you can't do this because of you won't have enough resources, you won't be able to survive, you won't be able to make enough money. This all ties to a sense of feeling unsupported by the people around us. And this feeling of being unsupported can really stop us from pursuing things that we are truly passionate about. And we integrate this sense of feeling unsupported within us. We integrate this feeling of being unsupported by first not listening to ourselves and not listening to our needs, to first not even knowing what we are really passionate about, because we don't even give ourselves the space to wonder and imagine, hey, what do I really want to do? What am I passionate about? I really like to do this exercise that is in a world where you have everything. And what I mean by everything is you have all the money, you have all the support, you have all the love from people. People love you, people admire you, you have all the external validation that you ever wanted and needed. You are adored, you are loved, you are praised in a world where you have everything. And what I mean by everything is physically, but also emotionally being supported, being loved, being praised in a world where you have everything. How would your day look like? What would you do if you have unlimited amounts of money? If everyone already thinks that you are awesome, if everyone already loves you, what would you do without basically outside interference, when everything on the outside is level 10, when you're not conducting your actions to get something from the outside of you? What would you do if you had everything? What would you do in terms of what were your activities? At what time would you wake up? What would you eat? What would you do as an hobby? What would you follow as a passion? How would you rest? And putting us in that mindset of what would my life look like if I already was fulfilled from the outside world? Because basically, this is putting us in the mindset of what would we do for us and for us only? What would our life look like if we only live for ourselves? If all we cared about was our inner fulfillment, our authenticity, and the way that we gain joy by just existing? What are the things that we are truly passionate about without trying to impress others, without having to survive? What are we inherently passionate about? Because that is going to tell us our inner fulfillment, and that is going to tell us also our authenticity. And again, this can be small, this can be big. It really depends on the person, and there is no shame in both. Maybe, yes, your dream life is having a big mansion, good cars, good clothes. Maybe your dream life is even smaller, and you maybe just want like a cottage in the woods and be able to travel in the mountains and be able to create. It really depends on the person, and all of them are valid. You can chase big amounts of wealth, or you can even be fulfilled with less, because wealth is not just about money. Wealth is about inner fulfillment. Wealth is not just about having a lot of materiality. It can be if that is really fulfilling to you, but if you are chasing wealth in terms of materiality without being actually what you want, and maybe you are chasing that because you are living from a survival standpoint where you were maybe poor and now you chase wealth in this sense of feeling unsafe and needing to chase wealth just to make sure that you are safe. Hey, that's completely valid. I struggle with that a lot, and that's a valid thought to have. But it is important to understand, do we really want all of that? Why are we chasing those things? And again, for some people, it can be really fulfilling and it's actually what they need, and that's valid. But some people, they don't really need the big things, right? And maybe they need some big things from one side and they don't need the big things from other. Maybe they want the mansion, but they don't want the car. It really depends on your authenticity and what really brings you joy and fulfillment. So imagine thinking of in a world where I have everything, where I'm safe, I have all the money, I have all the external validation. What would my life look like? Because again, I think we in society really praise this big wealth lifestyle, praise like having a lot of materiality, having millions in the bank. And that's not a bad thing per se, but I think for a lot of people, they might be chasing something that is not actually what they want. And you might end up spending so much time of your life, so much energy to get something that you thought you wanted. But then when you get it, you're kind of disappointed because you are like, oh, this is not quite what I wanted, because we need to understand the reasons why we are chasing it. If we are chasing those things because they are really fulfilling to us and they are really authentic, go for it. But if we are chasing those things because of living in a survival mindset, because we feel like we struggle with money and now we chase a lot of money to give us a sense of safety, that again it's valid to do, completely normal, but maybe what we are chasing as is more related to our inner sense of safety than actually having a lot of money. And sometimes we can also chase a lot of money and a lot of material wealth because of external validation, because then we feel like, hey, look at me, I'm worthy. Look at me, I did it. Now I'm going to get the validation that I was looking for. And you really don't get that validation. Even if you got all the wealth in the world, all the materiality, people will not give you that validation. Probably they will even be jealous of you. And probably your human interactions will be even worse than they were before. So, understanding why we are chasing the things that we are chasing and questioning the root of our desire so we can kind of align our action with true abundance, because abundance one is different for everyone, and abundance has more to do with your inner sense of satisfaction, your inner fulfillment, your inner sense of authenticity, and living a life that is aligned with your authenticity. And it's basically living a life where you get to meet your needs, and your needs, again, different for everyone, but your needs can be more complex and your needs can be more simple. Maybe when chasing money and a lot of wealth, maybe what you want is comfort, right? Maybe what you're looking for is a sense of self-worth. And building an abundant mindset is about fulfilling us emotionally, because everything starts in the mind. Everything starts with basically an emotion, right? And then it translates to the physical world, because we create our reality according to our belief systems, according to how we feel. We might have not full conscious of it, but we create our reality according to what we believe on and according to how we feel. So understanding ourselves, and that's practice of, okay, in a world where you have everything, how would you conduct yourself? What are the things that you do just for yourself? What are the things that you do just because it brings you joy? How would your life look like? How would you act? How would you dress? And going back to the basis of it, like, what are you really truly seeking for? And a lot of times you're going to understand that what you're seeking for probably is a sense of healing, especially around feelings of unworthiness and feelings of being unsupported. Feelings of unworthiness can lead us to chase a lot of material health just to prove to others, look at me, I'm worthy. Feelings of feeling unsupported can come back to that survival mindset of you did not have much, so now you look for financial abundance or material abundance for you to feel finally supported, for you to feel finally safe. And I'm not saying this is wrong, it's actually not. What I'm saying here is you shift from a mentality mindset to an abundance mindset by giving yourself what you actually need, by giving yourself the worth, by giving yourself the support. And actually giving yourself that sense of worth will create on the outside the worth that you're looking for. Giving yourself that sense of support will create the same support on the outside of you. Because again, we are creating our reality for our belief systems. So if we believe that we are worthy, we are going to feel worthy from the outside. If we believe that we are supported, we are going to be supported on the outside. Attaining the thing that you are looking on the outside world starts within you. So when asking yourself, how would my life look like if I already had everything? And wondering, okay, what am I misaligned in my life and why? Why am I taking the actions that are different from my authentic life? And basically, these all usually ties to sense of worthiness and feeling unsupported. So what you do here is, for example, if you are looking to get a lot of material wealth to gain that sense of external approval, it ties to a low sense of worth. So basically, you need to go to the first time that you felt unworthy. You need to go to that first moment that you felt that you were not good enough. And you go into that moment, usually is in childhood, and you ask yourself, for example, you see a vision of you as a kid, of that moment, the first moment that you felt unworthy. And you ask yourself, how would I want to be treated in this moment? Did I want some reassurance? Did I want some words saying, hey, you are worthy? I love you just as you are. You don't need to do anything for me to love you. Just your existence is precious. And giving yourself the words that you're looking for. Maybe you also need a hug, giving yourself a hug. Maybe you needed a gift in that moment, giving yourself that gift. Basically, is feeling the pain of the first time that you felt unworthy and giving yourself what you are asking for to feel worthy. And you basically do this. This takes a while. This is a process of healing. Healing takes a while. It's not night to day. But when you start giving yourself that sense of worth, the world follows. And when you see yourself as worthy, your actions are seen as worthy. Everything that you do is seen as worthy because you are worthy in yourself. And again, this can translate to more material wealth in the outside world because you are giving yourself a sense of worth, because you know you're worthy. And when you know that you are worthy, people also perceive you as worthy. Because again, the way that you interact with the world is the way that you view yourself. So what happens here is that it's not that the world changed just because you saw yourself as worthy, but the way that you interact with people, the people that you interact with, the environments that you encounter, the spaces that you find yourself in will reflect a sense of worthy, because your brain, the way it works is, for us to set up a belief system in our brain, first we have an idea. Like the world is X. Let's say, okay, the sky is blue. So what we do, we look at the sky and we see that is indeed blue. So now we have a belief system in our mind. Basically, the way that we interact with the world is we have an idea about the world, and then we look on the outside to affirm this idea. And when we affirm, basically, we set up a belief system. And again, in the example that the sky is blue, sometimes the sky is cloudy. Right now, I'm looking at the sky and it's not blue, it's gray. So the way that our brain interacts is, I'm going to prove myself if the sky is blue because I'm going to look for it when it's blue. So basically, our brain, even if it's unconsciously, it's looking to prove our ideas right, is looking to find the people, the places, the environments, the physicality on the outside world to prove our ideas right. So that's why our mind conducts and has so much power over our actions, even if you're not aware. Therefore, imagine if you believe that you are worthy, basically your brain is going to look for environments and people when it proves you that you are worthy. Basically, you're going to be attracted to people, environments, things that will prove to you that you are worthy. And your brain is going to kind of discard the people that see you as unworthy. And it's not that the world changed magically just because you feel that you are worthy, but your brain is looking for people, places, and environments that do see you as worthy. Because again, that's your belief about yourself, and that belief is going to drive your actions. So, getting that external validation from the outside world, that again, this can usually comes from wanting a lot of material wealth because you want to feel worthy, because you want that sense of validation, because you want to be seen as that guy or that woman. That belief starts within you. It starts by giving yourself that sense of worth, by going to the first time that you felt unworthy, asking yourself, how would I want to be treated in this moment to feel worthy? And again, this is very emotional. That's why I say it starts first emotional and then physically, because it starts first with emotions, with feelings of worthiness and unworthiness, that then our mind seeks on the outside world to prove to us that that is a belief, that basically what we have an idea or thought in our mind, it's the truth. So that's why it starts with feelings. So we go to that first time that we felt unworthiness. We give ourselves a sense of worth through, again, is different for many people. Can be words of reassurance, can be physical touch with can be acts of service, can be gift giving, can even be like, I think a lot of times is, hey, you are worthy to take a nap, you are worthy to rest. It really depends on the person, and you give that yourself a sense of worthiness, and you slowly start to heal from that. And when you slowly start from heal from that, the world is basically going to respond to you the same way, because you are going to look for people, environments, and places that prove to you that your idea in your mind is right, so you can set up a belief. And that usually leads to material abundance, because if you see yourself as worthy, what you do is also worthy, right? The actions that you take. If again, going back to the painter example, if you see yourself as worthy, your paintings are going to be worthy because they are coming from you, right? They are an extension of yourself. So the way that you create worthiness in the outside of you is by creating worthiness in the inside of yourself. Another very important part of lack mentality, and therefore the abundant mindset, is feeling unsupported, right? And this is very, it can be very difficult because this is very related with survival, a survival state, like I'm unsupported, like I have to fight for my, like my well-being, like I have to make sure that I'm good. And again, these feelings of feeling unsupported can translate in us seeking a lot of material wealth to basically make us feel safe, for us to like feel that we are not living in survival, for us to feel like, hey, I'll support myself, like I'm good. But the thing is, what happens here, even with the sense of unworthiness, and even with a sense of feeling unsupported, even if we got all the money, even if we got all that we're looking for, if we have not healed those sense of unworthiness and feeling unsupported, if we have not addressed it, felt it, and giving ourselves that sense of worthy of and being unsupported, We might have everything physically, but we will still feel unworthy and unsupported. Even if we got all the money in the world, all the materiality in the world, all the external validation in the world, if we don't see it in ourselves, we will always feel it because, again, it's a feeling. So you might end up chasing a certain lifestyle and a lot of material wealth to gain something that it was always on the inside of you, to try to achieve something that it was all about the feeling, and you feeling that feeling and giving yourself that emotional validation. And you might end up one chasing a life that is not quite right for you. Maybe you're chasing money just because of that. Maybe you're chasing money just to survive. Maybe you're chasing money just for the external validation. And you might end up at a job or doing things that are not quite what truly makes you happy. Or even if it is what makes you happy, even if it's something that is really your passion, and you chase all this money and all this material abundance to feel finally worthy, to feel finally supported, and you do reach all those goals, but you felt still feel on the inside unworthy and unsupported. And you realize at that moment that it was never about the outside world, it was always about the inside world. It was never about what the world could give me, it was always about what I could give to myself. So, in that example of feeling unsupported, that can lead us to chase a lot of money just to feel safe, right? Just from that survival state. No shame in that, very normal, right? What we do here is the same technique. We go for the first time that we felt unsupported. We feel the pain that come along with it, and we ask ourselves, how did we want to be treated in these moments? What are the actions? What are the words? What are the things that will make us feel supported? And we start giving that to ourselves. And again, what we believe is so slowly starting pouring into yourself and having this sense of self support will lead you to have support on the outside, because again, your brain is looking to confirm the ideas that you have in your mind. So your brain is going to look for environments, people, places, and things that do support you. This is why I say that abundance is mostly emotional than physical, because the things that you're looking for are mostly emotional, is emotional validation, is a sense of worthiness, is a sense of support, that then doing that for yourself actually creates that on the outside world. Because again, this is all stemming from emotional. So even if you have all those things, like there are so many people that have so much money and they still like need, feel like they need to save every penny, and they are still in survival, and they are still creating more and more and more, and they, even though they are probably very wealthy, they live in perpetual survival. They are always seeking for that sense of support. And even if they got everything and more, they'll never feel safe. Or even the people that seek it for external validation, they can be the biggest boss, the CEO, the most prominent person, and they will never feel completely validated. They will never feel completely worthy. It will never be enough. They can be extremely insecure, actually. I actually think a lot of, from what I looked like, from what I examined, a lot of people in position of powers, especially if it was like something that they sought after, that it was basically not given to them, basically something that they worked for and sought after, I feel like they're extremely insecure. Most of them that I know, I feel like they are, in my perspective, from what I have experienced, very insecure. And I see in them like what they are chasing. And this can actually lead to a lot of success, like financially. I'm not saying that feeling unworthy and feeling unsupported will not lead you to financial success. It probably will, because you're gonna have this drive of surviving and this drive that I have to prove myself right. You can actually lead you, and it will probably lead you to a lot of financial success by distinguish material abundance from inner abundance. That's why I make the distinction of abundance is not about having it at all. It's about appreciating it all, because you can have a lot of materiality, you can have a lot of money and still live in survival, still feel unworthy. Abundance is something that lives within us, not on the outside of us. So for me, abundance is living a life where we meet our needs, a life that is truly fulfilling to us, that is authentic to us, that is driven by passion and fulfillment. And living in a lack mentality is all the things that stop us from living that authentic, fulfilling life. And again, for these people, for some people, living an authentic and fulfilling life is actually having the mansion. That's valid. However, I think not all of us want a mansion, even though we might think that we want it because it's coming from like feelings of unworthy, unsupported. We might think that we want, although that materiality. But some of us really don't. Like some of us just want to live a more simple life. And that's actually the version of abundance for us, because that simple life is actually giving us that inner sense of fulfillment or authenticity. Again, for others, it can be the big materiality. What I'm saying here is chase that materiality because it's really fulfilling to you, not because you are looking for something to heal you, for a void to be fulfilled, especially a void that was never fulfilled by the outside world, but always for the inner world. And actually, you feeling that void for yourself, basically, you giving that sense of worth to yourself, you giving that sense of support, will lead you to more financial abundance in the outside. I think financial abundance is really, I'm not saying it's easy, but you can always obtain it. Basically, you just have to take action towards it, right? But the thing is, what is it really fulfilling to us? What are we really chasing here? What will be the thing that will really make us fulfilled, safe, and secure? Because I think that's the thing that we should chase. And that thing that we should chase does not exist on the outside of us, it exists within us. It's about healing our own wounds, giving ourselves our sense of worthiness and support. Sorry. Someone doesn't want me to speak. Um, is giving ourselves that sense of value, support, and worthiness, because that is at the bottom of the day what abundance is. That is what we are looking for. And sometimes it can be very painful to chase a life of extreme wealth, to fill a void that was always within us, when we could give that to ourselves from the get-go, and we'll create a reality based on that. We'll create a reality of feelings of worthiness. We'll create a realities of feeling support. And we don't basically, we spend more time and energy into things that are really fulfilling to us, and we don't waste it away trying to fill a void that was only ours to fill. Let me know down in the comments if you resonated with this message. If you like this video, give it a like. If you like this content, subscribe. Bye.